What's up, Benfica Nation? Welcome to another episode of Mr. Benfica. I am your host tonight in a absolutely hot, humid studio tonight here in my home, in my basement in Worcester, Massachusetts, United States of America, where it is about 90 degrees on the Fahrenheit scale. Very, very hot. How is everyone doing tonight? It is another night of Mr. Benfica. This is episode 119 for everybody. That's right, 119. How are y'all doing? It has been a long week for me, and I'm very excited to be here talking to all of y'all here, talking about Benfica and talking about this Champions League qualifier that we just played earlier this week. Now, working with a new camera tonight, so if I look a little strange, it's because I'm looking in a different spot tonight than I have been for the previous video episodes. Shout out to everyone watching live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope, courtesy of Twitter, and shortly it'll be on www.mrbenfica.com. And we're going to talk Benfica versus Spartak, of course, as the two teams squared off earlier this week in the Estádio da Luz as they played the second leg of their UEFA Champions League third preliminary round. Okay, what a night for Benfica. What a night for Joao Mario. And I think I'm going to start on this. And actually, those of you listening on the podcast, you just heard the audio. Okay, if you're listening just to the audio podcast, you just heard the stadium. At the end of the match, you heard the sound of 20,000 Benfiquistas singing and applauding their team and saluting their players. This is something that has been sorely missing. And I don't want to get ahead of myself. I really, really don't want to get ahead of myself because I'd be setting myself up for disaster later. But I really think that this Benfica team is a little bit different this year. This is not last year's Benfica. I don't want to believe it is because a couple pieces have been changed. And I said last year, we could be just a few pieces away from having this thing resolved. And I think Joao Mario was that piece. And I can't believe I'm saying this, okay? I was so skeptical of this signing. I didn't have much faith in it. And I was wrong. This is a mea culpa right now. This is my mea culpa, okay? I was wrong. I was wrong about Joao Mario. All those years he was a Spartak player or a national team player, I never thought much of him. Of course, what I'm learning is that I never watched him close enough. He says in his post-game flash, which you're going to hear in a little while on the podcast, that he knows what what Jorge Jesus wants from him. He knows what his role is in this team. JJ said the same thing. Is it just me, or is this a JJ that's much more focused, at least through these first three matches? Last year's JJ was completely lost. And yeah, maybe it's time to give some credence and some credit to that. I don't want to call it an excuse, but maybe it was a reason, the COVID outbreak throughout the team. Maybe that was a reason things were so poor last season. Maybe that was a reason, okay? I didn't buy it at the time, and I'm still, I don't know about it, but this JJ is much more focused. He's making good substitutions versus bad ones, okay? He is now got some players that play his game, okay? The guys he has vouched for are here now, okay? Lucas Verissimo is here. Joao Mario is here. Roman Yaremchuk is here. I need to do another mea culpa. I have mispronounced his name through the first two episodes of this season, and I think I mispronounced his name all summer on the Parking the Bus podcast. It's Yaremchuk, not Yarmachuk. So my apologies again to him and to any Ukrainian watching, anyone of Ukrainian ancestry that understands the Ukrainian language. I apologize for completely butchering that name. So Jorge Jesus has some of his guys now. And Joao Mario fits in this team like a glove. And I can't believe, and as I'm watching this game on Tuesday, Joao Mario is winning me. Like I had already said, I was starting to feel different about him. when he scored that goal, I was, I was up off my feet, and I'm saying, how am I falling for this player so fast? How am I? This is twice now in a calendar year. Two players I thought very little of. Two players I didn't really think had Benfica in them, okay? Or I should say two players with previous clubs I could not stand. Nicolas Otamendi and now Joao Mario come in. And both of them win me over almost immediately. Last year, the idea of Otamendi won me over before Otamendi's play actually did. So I was already optimistic when he arrived last year. Joao Mario ahead of me, I was a little bit more skeptical. I didn't know how he was going to fit. This isn't the Spartak team we saw him shine with, or that everyone remembers him shining with when JJ was the manager of Spartak. But you know what? It's starting to look like that team. You know why I say that? Joao Mario is playing in his role like he did. Julian Weigl is Adrian Silva. Literally, the combination is there. The connection is there. It's almost like it's the same person. And that was Adrian at his top. That was Adrian in his peak, okay? Not the Adrian that would come later. But that was at a time when Adrian was up here, and Joao Mario and him were combining well. Julian Weigl is in that place. And we got a shout out here, investors in the house. So here it is, investor 1904. Yes, Joao Mario is a quality player who can play anywhere. I'm completely convinced. There's no more convincing needed. I am 100% convinced in Joao Mario. I've really enjoyed this team this year. 3 matches only, but I've actually enjoyed them. I have enjoyed the way we have played. And Tuesday was a good, patient performance from Benfica, okay? I'll get into it in a moment. And when we get into the match, I thought they were very, very patient. And I think that they adjusted quickly to what Spartak were doing. Spartak came out with a different approach, and Benfica adjusted quickly and then controlled the game from there. One thing I want to talk about today, before we get into the match, okay? Today, Benfica signed a sponsorship deal for a sleeve, okay? This caused a little controversy, and I don't really think it should be. Okay, so the online casino, Betano, has signed a deal with Benfica, a sponsorship deal, to be on the jersey and to sponsor Benfica. So people are upset about this. I'm seeing it in Twitter, and I disagree. I don't it's an investment in our club, okay? It's a partnership. It's a sponsorship. Our club needs funds. And I just don't get what the stigma around an online casino. Okay, episodes of this show have been sponsored by an online, a betting website. So I'm not gonna. Maybe I'm not as impartial as I should be, but because past episodes have been sponsored by more than one online betting source, so I have received sponsorship in the past not from casinos, but from online handicapping websites, and I make appearances on Better-Than.Vegas from time to time, and I do some handicapping there too. So I have a different view of the betting game, but this is legalized betting, okay? And some people listen, we all have a right to our own opinions, and you don't all have to agree with me, and I don't expect everyone to agree with me, nor do I want everyone to agree with me. That would make for, why would I come on here and talk, after each match if everyone agreed with me, there'd be no reason to say anything. But I think, okay, I'm really surprised, actually, that so many fans are so against online casinos or online betting websites. They have an issue with the league being sponsored by an online betting casino, an online casino. They have now an issue with another one going on our jersey. I saw somebody say it's not even one that's available in Portugal. It's betano.pt. It's online. It is not a physical brick and mortar casino. No. But again, why the stigma around legalized betting, sports betting? It does not mean matches are going to be thrown. Plus, Portugal has a dirty history in match throwing anyway, match fixing. Just look at our rivals up north, okay? Yes, I'll throw that accusation out there, okay? I have no problem throwing that accusation out there. We know things have happened, okay? They've accused us of the same thing. We know things have happened. That happened without patronage or sponsorship from casinos, from betting websites, okay? That is the future. That is who's investing in sports. Look around. Just look around. That is who's betting in sports. Look at the jerseys. Who watched the opener to the Premier League today? Who watched Arsenal lose again? Who read the jersey sponsor across the front of Brentford's jersey? Bet Hollywood, an online casino. Some people are just living in a utopia in their mind, I think, in a romantic place where they think, I know these are the same people that don't want to see any sponsorship on the jersey. I don't want to burn any bridges with anybody. I don't want to insult anybody. I don't want to offend anybody here. But I strongly disagree that there's an issue with legalized gambling, regulated gambling, sponsoring sports. They have the most interest in sports. They have the most, they want to fund these things, okay? Because they have a very important interest in it, okay? And they're going to be a good partner as such. And I mean, some are saying it's because this board is a temporary board and that, this president's an interim president. Fair enough. But business has to go on. And I'm sorry, but football is still a business. Romantic fans don't like it, okay? And I'm very much a traditionalist, okay? But I'm not wearing this Benfica basketball jersey here if not for investment, if not for business. There's a sponsor right across the front, okay? If not, it's not being shipped to my house by Benfica. If not for investment and business and people with money getting involved. Okay? We got to stop demonizing and vilifying, anything that has to do with business. Football is a business. If you don't do business, you fall behind. Yes, I love the romantic ideals of a Benfica that had no jersey sponsor, that everyone's cottage was enough to fund the club. Yeah, that would be great. That's not what's going to happen. In 2021, do we want to keep with the tide? Do we want to keep with the pace? Or do we want to fall behind even more? You got to do business. You got to put business people in business positions. And if this was a good deal, and there was a time frame for it, and it needed to be signed, and if Betano said, it's now or never, then this board is in place right now. Whether you think they're legitimate or not, they still have a job to do. They can't just sit there and do nothing. So, again, I am in favor. And investors saying the website looks cheesy. It may be cheesy, but I don't know. For me, it comes down to the financials, and I haven't seen them. But I'm just talking about the concept. Let me see. I think he went in here. Why not sell shares to? Yeah, I also took some heat on this because I agree that I think that the Texter offer was a good offer. And, I thought it should have been heard out, if nothing else, to send the guy away and to not bring it to the board and to not seriously consider it, I think was wrong. From what John Texter has said is that he will make another proposal when things are more stable, when a new president is in, or when either this president, Rui Costa, wins an election or a new president is in place. He will make another formal offer, and he's hopeful of it. I've said on this show before, I like John Texter. I am a happy customer of his, so I guess I have a little bit of a vested interest. I'm also a shareholder in Fubo TV, so I will say that out front. So yeah, maybe I'm a little too interconnected for some people, and maybe my opinion's a little biased, but I agree with investor here. I agree that revenue needs to come in. And if this man wants to invest, he's not buying the club. He's not going to make himself president. He's buying, if my memory serves me right, 25% of the shares of the SAD. There's a difference. The SAD and the club are two different things. The SAD is a limited company, and they have a right to sell shares if they want to. All right, so that's where I stand on that. We're going to take a short break. When I come back, I'm going to get into this match, okay? And we will talk about this one. Again, Odi started in goal again. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Stay right there. We'll be right back here on Mr. Benfica. This is episode 119. And those of you listening on the podcast version, the audio, you're going to get some music now. I can't do that on YouTube. Got in trouble last week. That's why you didn't see the last episode until Wednesday when I recorded it on Monday, I think. There was a little bit of audio in there that YouTube did not approve of. So there won't be any music or any audio tonight. We're going to take a quick break, and I will be right back. All right, we're back here on Mr. Benfica, episode 119. We're talking Champions League prelims, and let's go right to the lineups again. And if you're listening to the audio form on the podcast, you just heard Joao Mario in his post-game presser, and you just heard him talk about how he was asked about how well he's meshed with the team so quickly, and he was asked about how he's combined so well, and he explained he has a history playing with PZ, and he has a history playing with Rafa in the national team, and he knows them well. But he said most of all, he knows his role in this club, and he knows what JJ wants from him. All right, let's go to the 11, starting with the visitors from Russia, starting with Rui Vitoria's Spartak Moscow, and I as you know, like Rui Vitoria, okay? I like him more than most people do, than most Benfiquistas, okay? He's got one heck of a project on his hands here. He has a lot of work to do, and that team is not ready for him yet, okay? So I'm hopeful now that we have beaten them and we have advanced. I'm hopeful that Spartak are going to turn things around in the Russian league. I want to see success for Rui Vitoria. I won't be shy about that. I want to see success for Rui Vitoria going forward. In goal, in his 4-3-3, he's got Alexander Maximenko, his 4 across the back, Nikolai Raskazov, Georgi Zikia, Samuel Gigot, and the Brazilian Ayrton Lucas. 3 in midfield, Roman Zobnin in the center with Neil Umarov to the right and Alexander Lomovitsky to his left. Up front, the Argentine international just returned from the Olympics, Ezequiel Ponce, the former AEK Athens player, gets the start. To his right, it is Bakayev. To his left is Jordan Larsson, of course, the son of one of my favorite all-time players, son of Swedish legend Henrik Larsson. For Benfica, they come out in their usual 3-4-3, and they're getting good at this formation. I've always liked the idea of it, and now I'm really starting to like how it's going. I'm starting to like the way that the system is playing, and I like the mismatches and the overloads that it is creating throughout the pitch. So Odi gets the start again. I was kind of starting to think we were going to see Elton in this match. I thought maybe the goal that Odi gave up on Saturday was not great. I thought maybe the goal that maybe JJ would have seen enough of Odi after that. He came out kind of haphazardly. He was unsure. He got dribbled and too easy in my book, but he sticks with Odie, and I'm thinking that Odie is the number one. That to me seals it. JJ has chosen Odie Vacodimos as his number one goalkeeper, and if that's the case, he's got my support, of course. I've always been an Odie fan, and it took me some getting used to when he was dropped last season, but then, Elton put in some good matches, and he was he was good for what we were doing. He was good with his feet. His distribution was better than Odie's a bit. Odie's the better shot stopper, but here I'm thinking that Elton can't be in good form. Something is not right for him to lose favor with the manager this way, unless Odie just worked his tail off all summer and came in top form once again. Perhaps that's what happened, because he gets the start again in the Greek International. It appears to be once again Benfica's number one. Three in the back, no surprises here. Otamendi, Verissimo, and Vertonghen. Vertonghen, of course, would leave this one injured early at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. The two wingbacks, Grimaldo and Diogo Gonçalves, with Weigl and Joao Mario playing as a double pivot in midfield. Very good double pivot. These two look like they've been playing together for years. There's a great connection between these two. And it's almost like this is the partner that Weigl has been waiting for since he arrived at Benfica. He's been asked to do too much, in my opinion, since he's been inserted into this team. Okay? He's not an out-and-out 6. He's not an out-and-out 8, Weigl. He's something in between. And he does a lot of things well. And I'm such a big player, a big supporter of Uli and Weigl when others not necessarily are. I see that he has amazing quality. He's got good vision. I think there was some uncertainty on his part when he first came into this team. And even through last season, he didn't seem to fully understand what his role was with this manager. That seems to have been ironed out. And, of course, insert a super on-form Joao Mario. And Julian Weigl is now not having to do so many jobs at once. I am very, very happy with this tandem right now. And then in the front, you have Rafa Pizzi on the outsides, and Gonçalo Ramos gets the start again at striker. And I think Gonçalo Ramos has been playing quite well. He's doing the little things right now. He's not scoring goals, and I'm so many times critical of goals and assists. And goals and assists is something I hold in very high regard and something that I use to judge players, okay? When it comes down to player A or player B, I want the guy that gets goals and assists. I do, because you win the match by getting goals. You don't win the match with possession. You don't win the match with pretty play, okay? I know some people see the game differently. That's fine. But but what Ramos does off the ball, okay, he has absolutely run a marathon in this season already. In these 3 matches, he has worked so hard. And at times as the lone striker, because Pizzi and Rafa are not really playing as forwards. They're lining up there, but their spaces is coming back into the gaps, okay, between the lines, playing in those outside channels coming in, okay. Gonçalo at a lot of the time has 2 defenders he's gotta keep busy, and he's doing that. He's playing with his back to goal. He's moving off the ball. He's coming wide and opening space for other players' runs. He's winning balls. He's tracking when he needs to, and most of all, he's applying pressure. JJ's teams play best when they apply pressure. Okay, you go back to JJ's 2009-2010 Benfica. Okay, that first team he had. And the way they would just press and press and press. And if they lost the ball, they won it back. Okay, I think that's still JJ's ideal football. Gonçalo gives him that. And I'm not saying that, he's going to be the only forward, obviously. We had a guy come in off the bench later in this one that is going to have something to say about that. And we still have last year's, second most goal scorer in Haris Seferovic. So, who's injured right now, but he will be back. It's a good problem to have for JJ right now with the forwards he's got. He's got three really good forwards. It looks like Carlos Vinicius. I see the goodbyes to him all over social media. I see the thank yous, but I don't see him going anywhere yet. We'll see what happens. He's probably going to leave. I'm sure he wants to play, and he's figured out that he's fourth in the pecking order now. Former Golden Boot winner. But it is what it is. All right, Benfica come out. And Spartak, Rui Vitoria Spartak, throw a little bit of a curveball in the start. They sit back a little bit more. You'd think they'd come out looking for a goal because they needed to score. They're behind in the tie. But they decide to kind of smooth it out, and I think they tried to ride out the first half hour or so of this match and wait for their chances to go forward, wait for their chances to make an impression on this match. And I do apologize for the video quality. It looks like the stream is experiencing some buffering right now. I do apologize if I'm hard to see, but again, getting back to it, Benfica figures it out, okay? They figure it out. They adjust, and they start to move the ball, and they start to find those overloads. The Diogo Gonçalves and Grimaldo start to get forward. They start to create those overloads wide. And once again, Spartak not sure how to contend with them. In the 15th minute, we get a yellow card to Nicolas Otamendi, who's fired up and just commits a bad foul on Umarov, it looks like. But he just sees a yellow card, and I think that Benfica need a little bit to settle down, but they start to here. And in the 17th, it's an attempt by Rafa. He gets set up by Weigl, and he shoots from outside the box, but just a little too high. Benfica in complete control here in the first half. Even though they're not scoring and the opportunities are few and far between, they're in complete control. Remember, this is not like a league match. Benfica have a 2-0 lead at the start of the match. Okay? They can see out a 2-0. They're not going to take chances going forward to make it 3-0 on aggregate. Okay? So they have to be more patient. And I thought they were good at that. I thought they were very patient, and they waited, and they held their own, and they held they held themselves, calm, and they kept their heads cool and level. In the 23rd, they had their best chance of the first half. It was Pizzi, who shows up, arriving late in the box, which he does so well. Grimaldo cuts back, dishes the ball on the ground for him, perfect, but his shot is blocked by Ayrton, and could have nearly been 1-0. A minute later, he has another opportunity from outside the box, left-footed. This one deflects. It hits Georgi Zikia and deflects up and over. Benfica nearly go ahead twice here in the 23rd minute. Yellow card in the 24th to Lomovitsky of Spartak as he fouls Diogo Gonçalves. 25th minute, another opportunity, and it's Lucas Verissimo getting on the end of a cross from Diogo Gonçalves, but his header is blocked in the box. 26th, it's Rafa with an opportunity. So you see, Benfica still creating the opportunities, despite Spartak sitting deeper and trying to hold on. This time it's Rafa, left-footed shot from outside the box, and this one was blocked. Also set up by Diogo Gonçalves. Getting a lot of good quality play out of the wingbacks. When they're allowed to play as attacking wingbacks, they're both very capable. And again, I love the growth we've seen in Diogo Gonçalves in the last 12 months. From a guy who was, a midfielder, an attacking midfielder, to now being a wingback. He's growing into that role. He's finding the spaces. He's finding the channels. And his guys, Weigl, Verissimo, they're finding him. They know his runs. He knows their through balls. And this team is just starting to look like a team that has played together. And I think it's good that we didn't have wholesale changes after last season. I'm starting to see that it's worked out. That gamble, if it was even intentional, to just stick with the core and add a couple pieces is paying out in my opinion. The players are starting to know each other well. And again, you insert a Joao Mario in this team, and all of a sudden it's like that missing puzzle piece, and he is like this link that just combines all of the different groups of players on the pitch. He combines the three, phases of the game, the defensive, the midfield, and the attacking phase. And he's just a good link-up player for everybody else. We move forward, 36th. Gonçalo Ramos will win a free kick. He's taken down by Samuel Gigot. Ensuing free kick goes nowhere, however, and then Spartak get a rare opportunity in the 39th. Nail Umarov has a right-footed shot from outside the box, but high and wide. And it would be few and far between again for Spartak, for Rui Vitoria's side on the night. In the 45th, one more opportunity here. Ayrton, left-footed shot from outside the box, saved in the bottom right corner by Odi Vlachodimos. Again, very good shot stopper, and he was on his game once again. Our back three was very good in this game. I mean, Jan had some issues, and I've said Jan is struggling a bit. I said it in the first two matches. The teams were picking on him. Well, we fast forward to halftime, and Jan is taken off for Moratu, and then Jan picked up a knock. Jan picked up an injury, okay? We're asking a lot of this player to play this many minutes, coming off a European Championship summer, okay? And coming off an 8.5-month full season, not 10 months. The same amount of matches crammed into 8.5 months. When you get up to be Jan Vertonghen's age, you know, he's struggling right now. He's being asked to do a lot. But I think this kid Moratu is ready to step in. I thought he was fine in the Portuguese Cup final last spring. Thought he was fine in the finale of the season when he came in. Again, I think he did fantastic in this one in the second half when he came on. For Spartak, you get an opportunity here in the 45th at the start of the second half. It is Ezequiel Ponce, the Argentine. He gets set up by Georgi Zikia. His right-footed shot from the center of the box, saved in the top left corner by Odysseus once again. And again, this game could have been much different if Odi doesn't make some of these saves. You can say they're routine, but if he does not make them, okay, he's had to go into the bottom corner and into the top corner once. But if you can fall behind 1-0 in this match, remember there's no away goals, okay? There's no away goals. But if you can fall behind 1-0, you know, things can get very, very cagey, very, very on edge. So I'm glad that Odysseus, you know, came up with some good saves in this one and kept Benfica level until they could find the winner. So if you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to fast forward here to the 56th minute. And those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, you get to hear Elder Kunduzu's call of the goal. For the rest of us, just pause for about 5-10 seconds. So there it is. It is Joao Mario with the goal. Of course, this was after about 2 to 3 minutes of Benfica just passing and forcing Spartak to chase. Okay, Benfica's circulating the ball like I haven't seen in years, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's going back to the really highs of the Bruno Lage era, that first season. They're just moving the ball, pinging it around. Spartak, feeling the urgency, knowing they need a goal, start to chase. They start to chase, and they run down, and they go after it. But then, you know, it gets they start to run out of gas, and Benfica start to move it easier and easier and easier. It finds its way to Weigl. Weigl puts it out wide. It goes to Grimaldo. Grimaldo brings it in. He finds Pizzi. Pizzi connects with Weigl, connects with Joao Mario. Joao Mario, Diogo Gonçalves, and Rafa all connect there in some intertwining passes. Eventually, Rafa gets the opportunity off a pass from Joao Mario. His shot is blocked. Okay, it's blocked, but it falls right to Joao Mario, and Joao Mario picks out the far corner. Benfica take the lead 1-0, and I'm telling you, I popped for this goal. I was psyched to see Joao Mario score. I was psyched to see the way he celebrated the goal. He has bought into this team. He is happy to be here. And that makes me happy, and that should make all Benfiquistas happy. He runs and celebrates with the fans. His first goal in a Benfica kit, and to do it in front of 20,000 fans. And let me tell you, I think we got the 20,000 fans, the right 20,000 fans in the stadium for this night. we talked in the past when we had full stadiums or 50,000 in the stadium and 25,000 pour out early, all right, to beat traffic, or they're taking selfies, or they're playing with the flashlights. We got the 20,000 that are there to support the team because nobody left this match early. Nobody stopped singing. This was phenomenal. Again, like I said about the game in Moreira dos Cónegos, I could take the DVR recording, play it all night while I sleep, play it on a loop. I'll listen to that all night, the sound of Benfica fans singing over and over and over. It was phenomenal. And they're rewarded with a goal from Joao Mario. Benfica in complete control after that. And in the 64th, we get the substitution we've been waiting for. Roman Yaremchuk comes in. Gonçalo Ramos gets a much-deserved rest. Yeah, he didn't have too many opportunities in this game, but he did a lot of things off the ball, and he opened space for his teammates. And he was also involved in that goal. I mentioned Diogo and Rafa and Joao Mario combining. Gonçalo Ramos got in there too in the combination play. It was just a lot of ball circulation, turning the Spartak players in circles and really wearing them out before it opened up for a shot. So Yaremchuk comes in. Everton comes in as well, replaces Pizzi. Rui Vitoria makes 2 substitutions of his own. Czech Republic international Alex Kral replaces Umarov, and Mirzov replaces Bakayev. Jordan Larson picks up a yellow card in the 67th. This is Benfica. At this point, it looks like Spartak had given up on the match. It looked like Spartak had called it a day. They're not really getting much going forward. They're conceding. Weigl picks up a yellow card for a foul that, needless to say, the match was in complete control. And I'm concerned with how many yellow cards Julian Weigl is picking up in this team because he is a clean player. But it's like every time he commits a foul, he's getting a yellow card. Everton with an opportunity in the 73rd. Grimaldo sets him up with a right-footed shot from the center of the box, but he puts it over. Substitution in the 77th. That's it for Diogo Gonçalves. He gets a rest as well. Good effort. Great shift put in by Diogo Gonçalves. Gilberto comes in, the on-form Gilberto, who will be featuring tomorrow for Benfica, obviously, as Diogo is suspended. And Gilberto comes in and continues his form, in my opinion. Not a liability at all. A good option wide on the outlet pass. Combining well with his, midfielders, finding his support, appearing in support when necessary, tracking when needed. Rui Vitoria makes a double substitution in the 80th. Sobolev comes on for Ponce, and Ignatov comes on for Larson. As, again, Benfica just dominating the play here. Looking for a second. They look much more likely to get the second than Spartak does to get a first. And at this time, Spartak know it's up. 5 minutes to play, and JJ gives Rafa his standing ovation moment. Rafa Silva subbed off. Adel Taarabt comes on, and unfortunately, not a lot of minutes for Adel Taarabt. I think Adel Taarabt is a perfectly good 30-minute player for me. I think that's what's in his tank at this stage in his career. I've said it before. I've been highly critical of Adel Taarabt, but he has his place in this team, and I think it's to play. In a match like this, I would brought him on a little earlier. But hey, again, JJ is coaching quite well in these first 3 matches. Okay, I think I like his substitutions. I like his starting 11. There's a question of goalkeeping, but again, that's one position where you have to be in there every single day to know exactly which goalkeeper is ahead of which which one's ahead of the other, and not being in there, not witnessing training. Also, the goalkeeper coach has a big say in that as well. He knows them both very well. Benfica see it out, and then in the 90th +1, we get the insurance goal, if you will, to put it away and to lock our spot and to book our trip, if you will, to the playoff, a date with PSV Eindhoven of the Dutch Eredivisie. It is Roman Yaremchuk coming down the right. He takes a shot. It's blocked but it is redirected by Samuel Gigot into his own goal. 2-0 to Benfica. Let's hear from Roman Yarmochuk on the podcast, okay? On the video, I'll tell you, and just count to 5, and I'll tell you what he said. Roman Yarmochuk there. Yarimchuk. There I go. I have to learn to pronounce this name correctly. I promise to get better at that. He's saying there, it's early in the season for him. He just arrived. He doesn't know his teammates. He says everyone has been great to him. He's thankful to the manager for giving him the opportunity to play. And I like what he said at the end. He says, I need to learn. They asked, what do you need to do? I need time, Roman said. I need time to acclimate. He says, I need to learn Portuguese, as he said. Yes, I like that. There are players that come into this league and stay years and years and years and don't learn Portuguese. We have one in our team, okay? I also failed to mention at halftime, great moment at halftime, honoring Pedro Pichardo and Fernando Pimenta. Speaking of speaking Portuguese, nobody can criticize Pedro Pichardo, right? He needs to be credited for how good his Portuguese is after such a short time. Okay. Again, we have a player in this club. Okay. A player on the pitch here at the end of the match who's been in Portugal a whole lot longer than Pedro Pichardo. And Pedro Pichardo's Portuguese, yes, it has a Spanish accent, a Cuban accent, but it is Portuguese. He is trying and succeeding for the most part in pronouncing the words in Portuguese. And I like just the way that the two of them were received at halftime. Both Pimenta and Pedro Pichardo are 2 Olympic medalists. And I love the way Benfica Nation warmed up to them. And Pimenta's a lifelong Benfiquista. And Pichardo, you can just see the gratitude in his face. He is so grateful to be in Portugal. He's so grateful to be at Benfica. He does not take anything for granted, and he signed every autograph and took every selfie that was asked of him. He was out there well past the start of the second half. So I want to give a shout to those guys as well. But Yarimchuk there talking about how he needs to learn Portuguese. I like that. I like a player that wants to work for his place, okay? And JJ said in his press conference at the end of the play, he was asked if Yarimchuk's preseason is over now. And he answers it hasn't even started. He said that Yarimchuk's preseason hasn't even started, which is true. He just arrived. He does not know the movements of the team. He does not know the movements of his teammates. He can only he speaks English, so he can speak to a number of the players. But I'm sure he doesn't understand the terminology. I know he can't possibly understand Jorge Jesus yet. That's something that only comes over time. And I like his work rate. I like that we have players in this team with solid work rate. Gonçalo Ramos, Roman Yarimchuk, Joao Mario. Okay. Both of the wingbacks. Good work rate. Julian Weigel's got a good work rate. It doesn't always look like it, but he has a very good work rate. And again, I liked what I saw last week from Miete as well. I like that there's been some work rate and some blue-collar steel injected into this team. It's early, very early days. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but it was, a very good professional performance from Benfica in this one. Taking care of business, doing what they had to do. They saw it out. They saw the result. They got the goals. They sent the fans home happy. There was not one supporter that went to the stadium that was not thrilled when they went home with what they saw. A good job done by all. Manager, players, board, organizers, stadium staff, everybody. Everything seemed to go on perfectly. And congratulations to Benfica. They advance now. And you see there at the bottom of the screen, those of you watching, the dates for the matches against PSV Eindhoven. We have August the 18th at the Luge. That is next Wednesday. I believe it's at 3 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States. Kickoff 8 p.m. in Portugal, 20 o'clock Portuguese Standard Time. And then the following Tuesday, which I am thrilled about, that it's on Tuesday the 24th in Eindhoven, the deciding match. Now in Eindhoven, they're going to be at full capacity, is what I'm told. Okay, that in the Netherlands, they're already allowed to go at full capacity. I'm glad that match is on Tuesday because on Wednesday, I'm traveling. Okay, I'm on vacation that week. I've not had a vacation in the 5 years I've been working these two jobs at the same time. So I'm getting in the car. I'm going down to Virginia Beach on Wednesday the 25th, and I'm psyched that Benfica's playing on the 4th. I got a comment here from Investor. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. It's a 4-day rest. Lots of people were scared they wouldn't rest enough for the game tomorrow. Yeah, that's a fair point. It is a fair point. We'll see tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're going to see a lot of the same guys we saw last Saturday. I think JJ's managing this early phase, this first I could be wrong, but I get the sense that he's managing this first month of the season, or first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, where we have weekend, midweek with these two somewhat different lineups. Okay, I think obviously he could go to a back four, but I think he's going to stick with a back three because Moratu fits in perfectly in Vertonghen's spot. I don't see a need to change. I won't be surprised if we see the return of Gil Dias on the left to rest Grimaldo for Wednesday's match. Obviously we're going to see Gilberto on the right. We may see Miete once again. I don't know if we're going to run with Weigl or we're going to run with Miete tomorrow. That's going to determine fitness. Last week, Weigl could not go 90. JJ said as much. So I would be okay seeing Miete again. I mean, we have Joao Mario available. I think he looks fit. He looks okay to go. You got more. Yeah, we're playing every 4 days. That is true. We're playing every 4 days. It's a very difficult part of the season to be playing this many matches in this short of a time frame. I said that last week that it's a mistake. It's something we did to ourselves by coming in third place. So I'm not going to make an excuse, but it is a very, very difficult way to start a season. So again, he's subbing players, I think, with that in mind too. He's making 60th minute substitutions with that in mind. The players that can't play tomorrow played a little bit longer. Maybe Rafa rests again as a result. He played until the 85th minute. I think the manager is very confident in his bench right now. And I think the players on the bench are confident in themselves. Last week's game against Moreirense, I think, really helped boost the confidence. And I think they're going to go into tomorrow's game against Aroca confident as well. And let's see here. He says last week it was 3 days between games. Yeah, you got one less. Yeah, fair enough. We'll see where he goes with this one. There is one extra day rest this week. He's right. So maybe we won't see as many changes, but what will happen is next weekend we're back to the 3 day because we play on a Tuesday the following week. So I do think that JJ and his staff have this planned out. I think he's got two set lineups that he wants to use. It may not be the same exact lineup we saw last Saturday, but I know there's certain changes he wants to implement. I say I know. I sense. I don't know. I'm not there, but I sense that he has this planned out. And again, I think he's doing a good job this season. I've been critical of him in the past. I think right now he is getting everything on point, and I have no reason to doubt him. Let's look at the goal point right now and look at some of the player ratings for this match. As I'll bring it up to your screen here, and we'll bring up the goal point right there. So the XG for this match, Spartak have a 0.3 XG. That's a good defensive performance, obviously. Benfica with a 1.6 XG. Benfica's average rating is 6.44. Spartak's 5.29. Let's look at the rating starting with the visitors, the opponents. Maximenko in goal, 6.1. He was Spartak's highest rated player. Raskakov was a 4.9. Gigo, 5.7. Zikia, 5.7. Ayrton, 5.3. Bakayev, 5.5. Hendricks, 5.4. Umarov, 5.8. Zobnin, 5.5. Larson, 5.1. Sobolev, 3.6. Off the bench, Ignatov had a 4.7. Moses had a 5.2. Kral, 5.0. And Ponce, 5.0. And actually, I am looking at the wrong match. That is my fault. I'll fix this right now. It's this one that I want. My apologies, everybody. It is late, and I've been awake since 2 o'clock in the morning. No excuse, but it is a reason. Here we go now. Benfica's XG was actually only at 0.9. Spartak's 0.3. So Benfica defensively held them at bay both matches pretty much equally. Benfica's rating 5.97 is their average rating. Okay, here's the ratings for Spartak, 4.5 for Maximenko, Ayrton 4.9, Zikia 6.3, Gigo 5.6, Raskazov 4.4, Bakayev 4.9, Zobnin 4.2, Umarov 4.8, Lomotsvinsky 5.2, Ponce 5.5, and Larson 4.8. I would say these are the players I remember playing. And you see off the bench, Mirzov 5.0 and Kral 4.9. For Benfica, Odi 6.3, another good performance. In these two legs, he was very good. Diogo's got a 6.0, Verissimo 5.9, Otamendi 6.4, Vertonghen with the 5.4, not as good for him. He had but he only played half the match. That affects your rating. Grimaldo 6.8 down the left side. He did a monster job going forward and causing overloads down that left flank. Rafa 5.8, Weigl 5.4, Joao Mario man of the match according to goal point 7.1, PZ 5.8, and Gonçalo 5.3. We'll look at Joao Mario's performance first as the man of the match here. A goal, one cross, and it connected. He had an 89% pass efficiency, 8 passes in proximity. He had 2 dribbles attempted, 2 successful, 2 defensive actions in the opponent's midfield with 3 blocks of the opponent's pass or a cross. And you see in his heat map here where he likes to play. He was owning this part of the pitch right there, down the edge of the right center to the right channel, okay, right in that area there. Like I said, he combined really well with Diogo and with Rafa in this area, Gonçalo as well, and it was a good game from Joao Mario. Here's the statistics now: 10 shots for Benfica, 7 for Spartak. Only 1 on goal. That one went in, of course. So the goalkeeper with no saves. However, still 27 actions in the opponent's penalty area to 11. Benfica with 2/3 of the possession and getting it into Spartak's into the pitch, for the majority of that, and possessing in dangerous areas, which is when I like to see possession when it is in dangerous areas. 5 corners to 1 for Benfica, 90% pass efficiency across the board for Benfica, 76 vertical pass. That is a really good vertical pass percentage, and Benfica are usually in the 60s, so this is a good improvement for them. And you saw a lot more, you saw Weigl going forward a lot more, okay? A lot of criticisms that a lot of people have on Joao Mario and on Weigl is the use of lateral passes, but when you play with 3 backs and 2 wing backs and 2, attack-minded midfield / forwards, the way that PZ and Rafa played, in that right and left center channels, you're going to make a lot of passes that are lateral, and that you're going to get the team moving side to side. You're going to open up the holes for the vertical passes. Benfica had 15 defensive actions in Spartak's midfield, which is a good number, means they're pressing. And Spartak with only 9. Spartak committed 17 fouls to Benfica's 11. And like we said, Benfica, 67% of the possession. All right. So that will close the book here on the Champions League third qualifying phase. A few notes I want to say. Like I said, PSV is next. The dates are there at the bottom of your screen. The 18th and the 24th of August, the first leg in Lisbon, the second leg in Eindhoven at the Philips Stadion. One result to talk about today in the Liga, and that is Estoril drawing 0-0 against Vitoria Sport Club, or Vitoria Guimarães, and not a good start for the Conquistadores do Minho. And Dave is in the house. Dave Pereira. What is up, Dave? He's saying, let's get to the money. Liga B win. Yes, let's get to the money. I said there in the beginning, I have no issue with online betting sites influxing cash into our league and into my club. I'm sure Dave doesn't mind it going into his club. And actually, Dave, since you're there in the chat, what do you think about your big game tomorrow? For those of you who don't know, Dave is a Braga fan, and I really respect that. They got a big one tomorrow against Sporting. And yes, he does say a tough start for Vitoria. And I'm genuinely concerned for Pepa. And I wanted to talk about this, even though it's not Benfica related, because I see this happen, especially in Portugal, so often. A manager has a good year with a team, okay? A manager has a very good year with a team, like Pepa did with Passos last year. Qualifies them for Europe, and then goes to a team behind where he finished. Now, I know Vitoria is the 5th club in Portugal, okay? I put those 5 above everybody else. You have your big 4, and I have not been shy that I say the big 4. Braga, for me, for a decade now, are in the big 4, okay? And I put Vitoria right behind them. And if not on the pitch, in terms of the size of the club and in terms of support and in terms of impact, they are there. They are one of the big 5. Tough start for Vitoria. 1 point from 2 matches. Again, Pepa gave up the chance to coach in Europe. Maybe I'm just looking at this too much from a sporting sense. I talked about the business side of the game at the beginning of the episode tonight. I like the business side. I mean, I like reading Sports Business Journal, and I like reading about the business side of sports. But from a sports sense, from a competitive sense, I wish Pepa had stayed at Passos de Ferreira and seen out this second season. He had something there. And he took this project at Vitoria. I know it's ambitious, and I know it's a step up, especially in perception, and I'm sure in terms of pay. And that's, I'm sure, the driving force. But from a football standpoint, it's sad to me that Pepa is not going to be the one leading Passos Ferreira out in their playoff round against Tottenham Hotspur. It's disappointing to me that Pepa's not the guy leading Passos Ferreira out this season to try to maybe go one higher and get into the Europa League, perhaps. Maybe win a cup, win the League Cup this year, or compete for it, push for the Portuguese Cup. It's hard to get in the Europa League right now. And Dave makes another good point. He says it's pay plus the funds to buy players. Yes, it's true. There are some high salaries in that Vitoria team. But again, talking just from the football sense, and Dave's got some good insight here. So I'm going to keep putting his comments up here. He says he spent so much time at Tondela. Dave's talking about himself. Oh, no. I think he's talking about himself, or maybe he's talking about Pepa. He spent so much time at Tondela, he has to think that he can get 2 or 3 players he feels he needs, and that could be it. Yeah, he corrected himself, and he said he spent the time talking about Pepa at Tondela. Yeah, I hope Vitoria have the patience in him, because they didn't have the patience in Thiago last year. Okay. If you're going to, and Pepa's, worlds more experienced than Thiago was. Pepa's proven himself, so he has to be given time to start this project at Vitoria. And I want to see Vitoria, and I want to see Dave's club Braga, push closer to the top three. I want to see them in there. And I want to see this league be more competitive. It's better for all of us, okay? It is better for all of us. And we'll be more competitive in Europe if we're more competitive domestically. So I'm rooting for Pepa, and I am genuinely concerned for his future. And Dave is asking me if I think Thiago left because they didn't hold their end of the bargain. Very, very possible. Especially for a young, inexperienced manager. He may have been taking all of the Kool-Aid that they were giving him to get him to come in, and then got there, and the reality was something different. I have not heard or read anything from Thiago. I don't even know where he's working now, if he's working. He may be still on Vitoria's payroll for all I know. I can't right now think of it. But, again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this Vitoria team. Now, tomorrow, Benfica play 1 o'clock Eastern time again. I love that time, at least living here on the East Coast. I get out of work in time tomorrow to watch the match. That's good. And it's not later in the day. So I like the 1 o'clock. I like when they play in the daytime. I like seeing the old school, sun-covered pitch, especially this part of the season when we're still in the summer. It looks great on television, so I'm excited for Benfica tomorrow. But Braga versus Sporting at 3:30 also, or 3:30 my time here on the East Coast of the United States, 8:30 in Portugal. I'm interested to see how this match is gonna play out. Got the Esgaio brothers going up against each other. That's always fun. You've got Ruben taking on his former team, Paulinho taking on his former team, Painha taking on his former team. There's a lot of guys that have been on both of these teams, and it could be the first big match in the Liga this year. It is the first big match in the Liga this year, but it could be the first one to impact the table. We'll see who leads the league after this round too. Be very, very be very interesting to see, and I'm hopeful that this is going to be an entertaining game. And again, Dave is saying that Braga is in better shape for this with the return of 4 players from suspension from last year. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for Braga. Obviously, I'm rooting for Braga. There's no question. They're playing Sporting, so there's no question who I'm rooting for in this one. I was interested to see Dave's take on it, as that is his club, and the game is up there. It's in the Quarry, so it could be a very interesting game. Could Braga pull this off? Perhaps. I mean, they played them tough in the Super Cup, so Sporting needed a turnaround. They needed a comeback to win it. So tomorrow, put your TVs on. Wherever you live, put them on the channel that carries Portuguese football. Okay, for me, it's on Gold TV here in the United States. I don't typically watch Benfica on BTV. I tend to watch them on Gold TV because I want a less biased commentary. I want a little more analytical commentary, to be honest. And Dave just said in the chat that Braga have played better 3 of the last 4 matches, but have picked up 0 points. That's football. That's true. Maybe this is the time that it turns itself around. It's an early season match. We'll see. We'll see what happens if Sporting start to feel a little pressure. Should they fall behind? This isn't a Super Cup now. This is the league, and there's points on the line. So see what happens. I'm excited. I'm excited for you, Dave. I'm excited for this whole weekend of football. The Premier League's gotten underway. La Liga and the Bundesliga start tomorrow. I can't wait. I hope everyone enjoys watching football this week. I'm going to get out of here now. It is 10 p.m. my local time, and I've got to be up at 3 a.m. for work, so I'm getting out of here. I hope everyone has enjoyed this episode. I'll be back Sunday night to recap tomorrow's game against Soroka and get you ready for PSV next week. All right, thank you. This has been Mr. Benfica's episode 119. I'm the Mr. Mike Agostinho. If you're watching live, you see my Twitter handle up there. Follow me. That's at Mike Agostinho, at MikeAgostinho. And don't forget to follow the show at Benfica Mister on Twitter and on Instagram at Mr. Benfica. All right, I'll see you guys Sunday night. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy. And Carrega Benfica, Damu 38. And good luck, Braga, of course. Good night, everybody.